Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, let me give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that do rule exceptionally well. They continually feed the flock with 100% truth. They do that free of charge, and they uplift and they magnify the name of Yahweh and also the name of Yahweh Shai. And let me say shalom, citations, mercy, and blessings to all the sincere brothers that's out there that push this word with truth and with faith. I'm the brother Thapawa Amath of Great Millstone Northwest. I'm coming back with part 2 of this conversation that I was having with AI about the cost of AI. All right, as I found this information a little interesting. All right, just never really crossed my mind that AI itself was pretty much a black hole to suck up money. All right. I did part 1 earlier this morning. I'm home now from work. It was before work that I did the part 1. I want to follow up with part 2. All right. Part 1, we covered this question: how much money does it cost to run AI? And we got quite a bit of information. Now, this all again is leading off of the scripture of Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. Let's review that one more time. All right. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6, which says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe unto him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And we know that if Esau's good at anything, he's great at being wicked. All right, that's an inside joke. I'm sorry. If Esau's good at anything, he's great at piling on debt. In fact, he uses debt as a form of control over the people. Okay. And with that, he himself is continually in debt. You got to remember, the United States of America is trillions of dollars in debt. I have not checked the, let's do that. Let's see what the debt clock's about. Debt clock. Debt clock. Let's check the debt clock, man. Okay. Because we know that he's pumping a lot of money into the AI, but you know, he's not really covering the debts that he is at himself. Let me see. What do we have here? U.S. national debt is at $38 trillion, all right, and counting. $38 trillion and counting, okay? 38 trillion, 153 billion, 477 million, 7,000, 8,000 plus, all right, and climbing. Okay, let's just put it like that. So you see that number right there. That is the national debt for the United States of America. The citizen debt is 100,000, 110,000, almost 111,000. Okay, debt taxpayer is 328,000. All right, and rising. So that's the thick clay, and we did look up the word ibatyat in for thick clay down here, which the elder apostle Tahar was the first one to bring this out. Ibatyat meaning weight of pledges and heavy debts. Okay, so Esau himself, the so-called white man who's at the helm of the United States of America, as well as other countries around the world. However, America is indeed the focus. He has done a great job at laying up thick debt for not only himself, but he also uses that as a form of control over the people. All right, as everything that you do inquires debt. Okay, so let's check out AI. All right, we was asking AI how much does it cost to run AI, which we got a good bit of information. Go check out part 1 of this series. All right. I want to look at the second question that we asked, which is how much does it cost to ask you a single question, meaning to ask AI a single question. I'm using DeepSeek. All right, that's my AI of choice. Okay, so we learned how much it is just for AI itself to be, all right, for the computing costs and so on and so forth. We covered all of that in part 1. Here, we're going to ask how much a single inquiry, or as it referred to, an inference, all right, this word right here, it's not going to let me just highlight just the word, but an inference, all right, how much a single inference cost for AI. Because you got to remember, people are using AI all day long, you know, thousands upon thousands of inquiries into the AI, or inferences, should I say. using the correct terminology into AI is going up every single day. So how much does every single one of those cost? Even me asking just this one question, that's an inference. Let's find out how much it costs. It says that's a fantastic question that gets to the heart of the operational economics of a service like me. It's using personal pronouns because I used a personal pronoun when asking the question. The short answer is it costs a fraction of a cent per question. A common industry estimate for a single query to a large language model is between 1 penny. No, I'm sorry. That's not even. Yeah, no, 1 penny. I'm correct. 1 cent and 10 cent. Okay. For long, complex tasks. However, for a typical short question and answer like this one, it costs significantly lower, often well under 1/10 of a cent. All right. It says, let's break that down. What goes into that cost? Because it's not a single fixed number. What drives the cost of your question? Input tokens. Your question, the cost is calculated per token, roughly a word or part of a word. Your question, how much does it cost to ask you a single question, is broken down into tokens. This query is very cheap on the input side. Output tokens. All right. So you got input tokens. So the input of it being able to recognize the question. Okay. And then the output, which is the answer that it's going to give you. Okay. The answer, output tokens, my answer. It says this is usually the more significant part of the cost. My long, detailed answers are much more expensive to generate than your short question. So my question, which was only a few words, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 words, right? Now, the answer that it gave me is, as you can see, a lot larger than the question that I put in. So my question of 11 words costed a little over a cent, it looks like, for it to take the question in. Then for it to give it out, let's find out how much that cost, okay? It says this is usually the more significant part of the cost. My long detailed answers are much more expensive to generate than your short questions. A verbose answer like this one costs more than a simple one-line response. Model size and complexity. More powerful, larger models like the one you're likely using now are more expensive to run per token than smaller, less capable ones. Okay. Infrastructure overhead. The cost also includes a tiny slice of the servers, electricity, networking, and engineering required to keep this service running 24/7, even when no one is asking a question. So all of that is going to be factored into the cost of the of how much it costs for just a single question. Okay. It says a hypothetical cost breakdown for our conversation. Let's use some rough illustrative numbers. Your question, how much does it cost to ask you a single question, equals around 10 tokens. My answer so far, this entire response equals around 600 tokens, okay? So when AI gives you a like DeepSeek always, every single time you input something, the response that it gives you, and I know that ChatGPT is in a similar fashion. I believe Gronk is in a similar fashion. The breakdown that it gives you is significantly larger, and it goes into detail while summarizing to the very best of its ability. Okay, so it says that this response and it is about 600 tokens. Okay, so my input was only 10 tokens, only worth 10 tokens, but its response is about 600 tokens. Hypothetical cost for illustration: 10 cents per 1,000 tokens for input, and 30 cents per 1,000 tokens for output. Okay. Cost of your question, 10 tokens. So roughly a tenth of a penny, right? It says cost for the answer, 600 tokens. Okay. So about 18 cents. All right. Total inference cost for this exchange is 18 cents. Okay. So 18 cents for me to ask it a question, which this is, you got to remember, this is the second question that I've asked it within this conversation. So this conversation alone has taken up 36 cents of AI. But remember, I'm only one person speaking with this thing. You have people that's sitting there having full conversations back and forths with AI. Okay, you got to remember there was a individual, a young kid who was in, kind of a romantic relationship with an AI bot. All right, imagine how many times he was texting that damn thing, throughout the day. Okay, it says so far this entire detailed conversation, the direct there's that word again. If you watched part one, you know that this word tripped me up this morning. Computational cost to DeepSeek might be around 18 cents. Okay. Well, it says that that's so far for the conversation, which I don't know if it's counting both questions that I asked or just this single question. Okay. It says the bigger picture, why it's free for you. This is where the business model comes in. You aren't being charged per question because scale. DeepSeek process millions of queries, while one question costs a fraction of a cent. Millions of them add up to a significant infrastructure bill. Subsidization. The cost of providing this free service is likely subsidized by the parent company, DeepSeek. And then it gives you the Chinese, because DeepSeek is indeed a Chinese ran AI service. Okay. It's a Chinese ran AI service, which I don't know why, but I choose to use that over the American ones. I feel like it may be honest with me, even though ChatGPT has been doing well for asking questions on the Israelites or just the questions that brothers have been having in general. I've been choosing to use DeepSeek. I like the way that it gives me my answers. All right. It says, which I don't know what that says in Mandarin. I can't read that whatsoever. I can't tell you what the first thing that is. That's why we're gonna call it DeepSeek. Okay. It says as a way to showcase their technology, gather invaluable user data to improve the models and build a user base. Okay. So that's all under the subsidization. Future monetizations, they may offer premium paid tiers for access to more powerful models, higher usage limits, or enterprise features using the free tier as a funnel, which that's what I found ChatGPT to do, because I originally started using ChatGPT, all right, to ask questions, but it would give me a limit on how many inquiries I can put in, okay, and then it was trying to offer me a premium, which caused me to seek out a different AI bot, which what I ended up finding, which actually the brother Kassad, the head brother here at Great Millstone Northwest, I believe he was the one who originally told me about DeepSeek. Okay. It says, in summary, asking a single question is incredibly cheap, often less than a tenth of a cent, but serving billions of these cheap questions to millions of users around the clock is what makes running a service like me so expensive overall. All right. So we'll leave that at part two. We'll pick up part three at how much does it cost to run AI data centers. I want to keep breaking these down so that way they're digestible rather than one big video. It could be digestible in these smaller videos. Okay. But AI costs a lot more than what, at least for I myself originally thought. Okay. It could cost a lot as far as when you look at the big picture of it, of how much it costs to run all of this. Okay. And as we get a little further into the conversation, you'll see how that debt affects you, even yourself. So stay tuned for future episodes. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and say shalom.